So this is a right eye of a 55-year-old male patient having intumescent cataract. The common problem everyone faces while operating on such cataracts is the Argentinian flag sign. So in this case, we are going to see how to manage one such problem. First, the secondary and primary incisions are made using a side port blade and a 2.2 mm keratome. When operating on such cataracts, it's very important to have proper mydriasis and then proper capsular staining. In this case, the mydriasis is around 8 mm. So intracameral tryphan blue is injected following an air bubble. The dye is let to stay in the anterior chamber for a few seconds and then viscoelastic is injected to remove the dye and the air bubble from the anterior chamber. It is very important to fill the anterior chamber fully before initiating the capsulorhexis. Using a bent cystitome, the capsulorhexis is initiated from the center, and here you can see the Argentinian flag sign. It happens very instantaneously because of the high intralenticular pressure. In some cases, it is very difficult to avoid such a scenario. So once this happens, using a 1/2 scissor, an oblique cut is given on the left side of the margin of the Argentina flag sign, and using a nutrata forceps, a small enlargement of the hemirhexis is done. So the main reason behind doing this is to have a proper visual on the intralenticular contents, that is, to analyze how big the nucleus is, how much epinucleus and cortex is there. So depending upon the size of the nucleus and strength of the bag, we are going to decide on whether to continue with phacoemulsification or convert it to a superior manual sclerocorneal tunnel. So it is always easier for a right-hand surgeon to give a nick with the vanas on the left side than doing it on the right. So you either have to use a micro scissor or, as I did, use a cystitome to create a small nick at the rhexis margin, and using a nutrata forceps, a small double rhexis system. So once that is done, using your hydrocannula, evaluate the size of the nucleus. In this case, you can see there is a lot of epinucleus and cortex above, which indicates the nucleus size is relatively smaller. Biscote is injected first, following which HPMC is injected underneath, doing the soft shell technique so as to protect the endothelium. So as we have a clear idea on how strong the bag complex is while doing the double rhexis and how small the nucleus is, we decided to go with phacoemulsification. First, the epinucleus and cortex above the endonucleus is removed, and doing a combined vertical and horizontal chop, phacoemulsification is initiated. Always remember, do not do a divide and conquer or stop and chop technique in these type of scenarios, as there can be a posterior capsular extension of the Argentinian flag sign. As you can see, the nuclear fragments are very soft. They are not in the consistency of a hard cataract. Do not do phacoemulsification in the bag in these cases, as you can raise the pressure within the bag, and which can also lead to a posterior capsular extension of the tear. As you can see, the CDE is very less in this case, as the cataract's nucleus was very small and brittle. Avoid sudden removal of your phaco probe, as I did in this case, because it can also lead to a posterior capsular extension. Luckily, nothing happened in this case. So viscoelastic is injected, and before you attempt cortex wash, always do a posterior capsular polishing when you have an Argentina flag sign or when you are operating on a mature cataract. So this will separate all the cortical fibers from the equator and from the posterior capsule, which is very important, because without polishing, when you attempt a cortical wash, you are going to induce a lot of stress on the zonules and as well as on the posterior capsule. And since we have an extension of rhexis on both sides, chances of having a PCR is much higher. So do a thorough polishing carefully, mainly directing at the equator so as to separate all the cortical fibers, and then initiate cortex wash. I prefer to use a coaxial irrigation aspiration probe to do the cortex wash. You can also use a bimanual, or if you are not comfortable or if you feel the pressure is going to be too high, you can always use a Simcoe's cannula, which is a very safe alternative than using a phaco probe. So here you can see, before removing the irrigation aspiration probe, viscoelastic is injected through the side port and the anterior chamber is filled, and then the probe is withdrawn. Now the next question is, what type of intraocular lens do we inject in this patient? Do we inject a multi-piece intraocular lens in the sulcus or a single-piece intraocular lens in the bag? The answer is both can be done in this particular case. Since the bag complex is very firm and the zonules are strong, I decided to inject a single-piece intraocular lens in the bag. As it is a 2.2 mm incision, wound-assisted IOL injection is done. As always, the leading haptic is directed directly into the bag and the trailing haptic is not tucked directly. Instead, it is gently brought into the anterior chamber so as not to cause any raise in pressure or tension within the bag. And gently through the site of the Argentinian flag sign, the trailing haptic is dialed inside. The positioning of the haptics of the IOL is very important in such cases. As you want to prevent phimosis and keep the bag stretched, always place your haptic parallel to the Argentina flag sign. Once this step is done, we have a clear idea of how big the capsular opening is. So it is not sufficient, as you can see. It's very important to enlarge the partial rhexis margin in order to prevent phimosis. An oblique cut is given on the left side using a 1/2 like previously. The anterior chamber is filled with viscoelastic and using a ultra-task forceps, double rhexis is performed. The same way, a small nick is given using a cystitome on the right side, and then using an ultra-task forceps, a double rhexis is initiated on the right side of the extended capsule. Viscoelastic removal is done carefully and do not go underneath the IOL to remove viscoelastic in such cases, as you can increase the pressure within the bag and cause a posterior capsular tear. A gentle visco removal is done in the anterior chamber and the incisions are hydrated. To summarize, when you are operating on an intumescent cataract, always try to do a smaller rhexis and then do a double rhexis. If you have an Argentinian flag sign, do not panic. Analyze the size of the nucleus and the amount of cortex and epinucleus within the bag margin. Also, evaluate how strong the capsular bag complex is. So depending upon the nucleus size and the capsular bag strength, you decide on whether to continue phacoemulsification or convert it to a manual small incision cataract surgery. Use viscoat to protect the endothelium, as you are going to do the phacoemulsification in the pupillary plane and not in the bag. And then always do a direct chop technique. Do not do a divide and conquer or stop and chop technique, as it can cause pressure on the posterior capsule. Always remember not to withdraw your phaco probe or IA probe suddenly from the anterior chamber. Always do posterior capsular polishing using BSS and hydrocannula before initiating cortex wash. Place the intraocular lens in the bag so that the haptics are parallel to the Argentinian flag sign. Do a double rhexis. Always use an ultra-task forceps. Do not aggressively wash viscoelastic underneath the intraocular lens.